Hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit older than you.
I'm not touching this topic. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. I think we can go there and get a positive result.
I want to go.
If we play a night game, he has to turn the bloodlines on.
How poor do we have to be before he's happy? How much blood from this stone does he have to get?
The Wednesday Week.
I've just realised that's a hell of a pause once that music stopped, isn't it? Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. We've got plenty to get through this evening, having played 2 games since the last time we recorded. We've had a new kit. We've had rumours of players leaving. There's been all sorts happening. It's all kicking off. Tonight, joining me, I've got John, Charlie, and Holly, so there's probably going to be some nonsense afoot. If you are averse, please turn away. That was a hell of an intro, wasn't it? I didn't even practice it. Just straight off the hook. Charlie, how was your weekend? You all right? Look.
Yeah, well, it were all right. Saturday when there's no football is very weird, and then Sunday with football's very weird. Altogether, it's quite weird. Yeah, it was. I played Rounders on Saturday.
Wow.
Rounders. Do you remember Rounders, like at school? Played Rounders with my colleagues.
Why were you playing Rounders? I need to know more about this.
It was a work day, and we'd gone to Rother Valley, and we ended up playing Rounders. It was bizarre. We got frisbee as well. It's very strange. When I ain't got football on a Saturday, I go feral. I start playing Rounders. I don't really know why.
It turns out you turn into an 11-year-old school child. It just goes to the local park and button ball and just knocks it around, apparently.
What was the last thing I did when I had a free weekend? Oh, Kirby, Rounders. I will do that.
Yeah.
Played some tiddlywinks and
He's a curling.
Curling. That's next weekend.
That's this weekend. All right. So, John, how was your weekend? All right. You plenty up to much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew kickoffs and that, and it was Saturday was free, so I went and watched Deadpool versus Wolverine or whatever you want to call it these days. But yeah, it were decent film, bit ridiculous in places, but that's what it's like. But John, people are loving it.
That opening montage of him dancing to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, I think I described on a movie podcast as absolute poetry. So I'm not judging your movie choices there. H, how are you? You all right? Did you like your little intro into the new credits there that I've put in?
I didn't want those kind of goals, but anyway, yeah. So like you say, Saturdays without football, I honestly couldn't even tell you what I did. I think I just got ready for the match and then just sat there all weekend until I got picked up for match. I just sat there
in a state of cat-like readiness. In my head, you're holding your satchel like a kid in a cartoon, just with it on your knee, just slowly rocking. Back to school, just waiting to get picked up. Sounds mint. Now, in the background, working in the wings, Stevie's there doing the doing bit. So let's see if this still works. So Stevie's going to pop up some comments, and John's going to read them. Gives me less things to do and more focus on the on attention. So Stevie, if you can hear me in the gods, John, crack on.
Yeah. So first comment, Slappy Gilmore says 2 out of 10 for Wednesday's performance. 10 out of 10 for Fudge's background. Love it.
Well, I didn't. Normally, my plan was to put a player of the week in that frame behind us, and
this is how bad it's got.
given how Sunday's game went, I went, sod it, I'll put the chairman up.
Regular watcher, listener, Sharman has commented. So 2 quick sloppy moments, and they lost their noggins. It's all right though. Brings everyone back down to earth. Well,
you're too early. We've not even. Something happened before that.
But actually, let's get into that before we do any more comments. Let's talk about Hull City. So we drew Hull in the cup midweek drive up the road, essentially, and John, it was a hell of a start to insane start, wasn't it?
Wait. Before you go on to that, can I just tell you I had a bit of an ordeal?
Okay.
Hold tight, kids. Hold on to your hats, kids.
Well, I got searched at Leicester and they checked my hat. Well, this time, some little grasser dog got me pulled out of line.
Well, I got. Wait a minute. Sorry, I was doing a visual gag where I was holding on to my hats there. Sorry, you're in the
Those
queue to
dogs.
get into to Hull of all places. It's not like you're getting into Fort Knox, Crown Jewels, Tower of London, any of that. You're getting into the KCOM or whatever it's called in old money.
Bear in mind, how suspicious do you have to look more suspicious than everyone else in Hull? Right, this lying dog, right, sniffer dog, sat sniffing
lying dog.
It lied, right? I need to write a complaint. I need to accuse that dog of something, right? But anyway, started sniffing me, and the guy said, "Keep moving." But it was like it was properly identifying me as a suspect person. So then he tapped me and he said, "Do you just want to step out of the line, please?" And you know, even though I've spent 36 years of my life being an upstanding member of society. I must have had the guiltiest look on my face ever. I started thinking, oh no, all of my stolen items and my darts and my weapons and my drugs, what have I got in my tiny bag that I had? What's in there? I started confessing my life story. I was like, all right, I had fish and chips, all right. I had meat. And the guy was like, it's all right. Don't worry.
I love the idea. I love the idea of you getting dragged out going, it's not even from DHgate. What you on about? What you doing here?
It's a real shirt. I promise. I haven't done anything wrong. And then,
got the receipts.
Pull every single one of my pockets out like a poor person to prove that I didn't have anything. And then they were like, right, well, can I look in that little pocket? You know, that apparently that little pocket must be the place to hide.
That's the heroin pocket. Everyone knows that. It's where you put your tiny little smidge of heroin in.
That's it. And then open every single thing in my bag. And then just basically said I didn't have it, obviously. Then I like this at that dog. I'm coming for you later, you little biatch. Nobody reprimanded the dog for lying, did they?
Nobody reprimanded the dog for lying. The dog's
about his day, lying about people.
The dog's not getting any comeback on that at all. He's like, I'm a dog. What? Like, you know what I mean?
Like, yes, so she probably did something wrong.
Do what I want. And then Sharman, there, go on, John.
Yeah, so Sharman's.
Oh, I don't know.
John's big moment there. We lost his internet, but sorry, John. We went there, but your internet died out on you there. Yeah. So go again, my friend.
Yeah, so Sharman's just saying, half expecting Holly to go up yours, Rosa, knock his helmet off and legging it.
I think two of those things are true, Holly. And what we'll do a poll out later on to find out which two of those are true. Now, but back to the football. Now, John, it was a hell of a start to a game, wasn't it? I mean, that was mad as a fishing petrel, wasn't it?
Absolutely balmy start, wasn't it? I mean, we just came out of the traps like 100 mile an hour and just pressed them and obviously just robbed them in their own half. And bang! I mean, I couldn't get a feed for it, so I was just watching like notifications pop up on my phone. It's like goal, and I'm like, what already? Like Charlie McNeil as well. It's like, you know, new boy as well. I thought crazy this, because I didn't expect much, to be fair, because obviously lineup had completely changed, as you would expect, with it being a League Cup game. We didn't, we were going to rest virtually everybody, weren't we? And all the reserves and that were going to get a game. So I didn't really think I didn't expect that, and I don't think they rested as many of their first teamers as we did ours. So to see us get off to a start like that were amazing, really. And yeah, I mean, it was a crazy game, though, wasn't it? To be honest, I mean, like you said. What were it? We're in front after only a few minutes, weren't it? Very, very, very little on the clock.
2 minutes.
And, two, yeah.
Less than a minute. It was like 36 seconds or something.
What it actually?
Is that what it was?
Seconds. Yeah, that's mental, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
I tell you what. That attack by Valentin to get down on that defender was a beauty, wasn't it? I want to see more of that.
The back heel, though. The back heel. Who does he think he is?
It was disgusting.
Well, I tell you what, we'll probably get to it in a minute. I think that's what Windass envisioned when Sunderland scored their second. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it was meant to be one of them. But it was Smith, wasn't it? Did that back heel?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yes, it was Smith. Yeah. Everyone was like, well, Smith might leave, and everybody like, boing, their eyes popped out. Like, what? Who does he think he is?
Yeah, it was a completely different 11, and there was so many changes. I think it's my internet that's cutting out now, isn't it? I feel like I've turned into a robot. But this is the start 11 on screen now. Thank you, Stevie, doing the Lord's work. So we had Pierce Charles in net. We had Paul Diaby, Ihekwe, Johnson, Fusaya, who for me was the man of the match, Chaz. Palmer, Patterson, Kabatsky, McNeil, and Smudge. That's a hell of a start. That's what you'd argue is our second 11, right, Chaz?
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot to be said for, obviously, first game of the season is so important, but I would argue that this is so similarly important because it's showing the depth of your squad. You need to be able to pull a decent B team in, really. And I think it does go to show that, like, with Hull not really putting out as, I don't want to say a weaker team as us, that sounds awful, but like they were playing less of a B team, I guess. And yeah, and it's great to be able to see that, and it's great to be able to see how, like, what Roll's trying to achieve is clearly, like, really embedded, like, across all the players. Like, it was the same kind of, like, high intensity, like, high attacking, high pressing football that we saw on the Sunday in the A team, I suppose, the first team. So yeah, it was great. I was the same as John. Like, I was waiting for a kickoff. I was refreshing Twitter, and it was like, instead of kicking off, we've just kicked it in the net. It was crazy. And great for him to get, like, his first goal like that as well. Like, another promising. It's not his debut. Did he come on? I think maybe it was his first start, wasn't it? I think did he get subbed on against?
Yes, he played in Liam Palmer's testimonial. I don't think he came on against.
That was it. So it's like his proper debut, wasn't it? And so to be able to kind of another new player for us having another good game is it's all just really positive. So yeah,
and and a player that you feel wasn't going to get a lot of game time when we signed him. You felt like
it was like, okay, yeah. And the thing is it's good to have it's good to have a cup team. It's good to have a team that you're like, this is who we'd play if we're not playing our absolute best, but still have faith that you're going to get a result out of it. I think it's great. Really exciting.
Do you know what made me laugh about that, though? With the blind optimism that we all have at the start of the season. After McNeil scored, somebody said, is McNeil the new David Hurst? I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's been playing like 5 minutes.
Hero status already.
Build the statue.
What I will say, though, about the B team, I think there were some moments in that whole game, and don't get me wrong, I was convinced that we were winning the league and the cup at the end of the whole game. Like, we were doing it. But there were some moments in the whole game where we saw the people I was stood near turn to each other and went, you can see why they're not in the first team, which is probably like one of those might well be Valentin's effort at shielding the ball or whatever he was trying to do for Hull's goal. Like, that was a really, really naff moment.
Yeah, it made up for playing really well in the first 25 seconds.
Yeah, but it wasn't just him. There was other moments where you thought, yeah, maybe. And then the Hull scored, and then their fans were singing, it's all gone quiet over there and you're not singing anymore. And while they were singing that,
Charlie McNeil, then
glorious thing when that happens.
It's the best thing, isn't it? Go on, John.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and when they're singing "It's All Gone Quiet Over There," I felt like it's pretty much like Wembley then, because none of you all turned up, did you? So
get him.
I must admit there is an extra bit of needle playing Hull City because it's truly one of the worst places in the UK. Anyway, I think that's actually a fact. I'm pretty sure I saw a TikTok video on it, so can't disagree.
On the welcome to Hull sign, I think.
Top 5 shittest place in the UK.
We are sorry.
Yeah, so about that. It's not quite Skegness, not quite Newcastle. But what are the interwebs saying, Stevie? John, tell us all about it.
Here we go. So Sharman's come back again. Said young Fusaya was incredible. Yeah, he was a really promising player, isn't he? Yeah, and he's already got his own song, hasn't he? We've got Fusaya.
Clip that.
I will say everybody in the crowd was calling him Fusiri. rhyming with
You
gearing.
That sounds like something you put on your backside when you've got piles or something.
Yeah, him and Vermigil that used to play for us as well. Yeah.
That sounds like both of you have got experience of that. That's all I'll say.
Sharman again. Do you think Charlie said yoink when he nicked the ball off their keeper?
In my head now, that's definitely happened.
Do you know what? The goal, sorry to interrupt you there, but the goal that we scored against Plymouth where it went in off his face, and then that goal where we nicked it off of the keeper from the back heel, they happen against us. So I just absolutely adored that both of them were in our favour this time.
Yeah. Charlie will know this being a fellow gamer. I don't know if she plays FIFA though, but that our goals were like, you know, when you play one of the tougher teams on the computer and they have that, they call it God mode, where they just press you insanely and you can't get out of your own box. It was just like that when they robbed their keeper to make it 2-1.
It's like a pretend goal, in it, like the kind of, you know, like whenever you always get that when there's like a goal when keeper's got the ball and there's always a player that'll run at him just on the off chance, and then once in a blue moon they actually mug them off and get it, and you're always like, oh, that never happens. It was one of those that never happens kind of bits, and I like that. Yeah, it was a great goal.
There's a comment there, Stevie, from Neon Brown. Now, if Hull is known as the mouth of the UK. Now, Neon Brown's there written, is Hull the anus of England? No, that's Croydon. But Hull is also, you know, when you get like a really bad cold sore, like just on the outskirts of the mouth, that's what Hull is to the Humber, to the mouth of the UK. That's what that was. And there's a comment there from Jam the Sun as well, Stevie, and he said that the Hull game was the second worst game of the season. So up until that point, he was absolutely correct until we carry on speaking this evening. So the second half wasn't much to write home about. Not a lot happened. Not a lot going on. But insane start. 2-1 winners. We're in the next round of the cup against Grimsby Town. A town. Yeah, what's that? What, Charlie, you might know, or John, you might know. I don't think Hallie will. I don't know the way I started to say that. What's that? You know, like Zoom and pop. You know, words that are
onomatopoeia.
Describe what they are. Given the word that they are. Does that make sense?
Is that onomatopoeia? Like,
is that onomatopoeia?
Yeah, like bang.
Why would I not know?
Yeah.
You've just always been like, hey,
Holly
she'll
put a
not
pen
know
in her
this.
hand and leant forward to go, well, seeing as though you didn't come to me, watch it.
Year 4 English. How would I know?
I think it's onomatopoeic, and that'd have been a good gag about Grimsby had I remembered the word not 14 seconds ago. So, so let's move on. We're in the next round of the Grim Cup, and we were absolutely brilliant. Now, at this point, as Holly alluded to earlier on, we were winning the league. We were all carried away with it. We were on top of the world. Everything's happening. Sheffield Wednesday can do no wrong. Let's just Danny roll now. And then Thursday happened and the timing of this couldn't have been any better. So Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday night, the day after we've all decided we are winning the league, has decided he's going to release a limited edition Blackout kit, a third strip, because usually we just use the away kit from the previous season, haven't we? And I thought this was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Look at it. Now, for those listening in the car, you've probably seen it online, but it's essentially a black version of the home strip. But the bit for me, it's got a collar. And I'm very happy about that, and it's an absolute thing of beauty. So, I'd love to know what time the queue started. Chaz, you're sporting one for us right now. I mean, you know, how much you're comfortable with doing it on the internet gives a bit of a show with it.
No. Yes, I am. I did not get in the queue though. I sensibly ordered it online by screaming at my phone for 45 minutes while it repeatedly crashed, and no doubt charged me 7 times for the same thing.
Yeah,
and bought a kid size because the others were impossible. Is that what you did?
I was like, just have a kids one, cheaper, efficient.
See, that's what it is to you people out there. We didn't run out the wrong sizes. You're all too fat, apparently. That's what you can't fit into kid sizes. You're doing it wrong, apparently. That's Chansiri maths for you. So so that's what's happened. So the black kit, it was immensely popular, and it's absolutely a thing of beauty. And I thought, in terms of the club, on one hand, I thought it was absolutely a marketing masterstroke to launch it when they did, to have it ready when they did, to get it out when they did. However, having 4 tills on can get in the bin.
Well, I'm wearing the training top, which is also black.
With the chevrons.
With the crotch thing going on there. The crotch arrow thing. So I'd already bought this in my stupor of us winning the league after the Plymouth. So then when the Blackout kit came out, whilst I absolutely love it, it's quite similar to this. So I didn't get in the queue. But then I got total FOMO, so I do feel really upset that I don't have it, because it absolutely has worked on me. And obviously it sold out immediately, and apparently there was less of those than those pink kits that you can't get hold of. But I do think that if we, like Chansiri now, like it was a masterstroke, but whatever happens now, he's going to be wrong. If he re-releases it, everyone's going to go, well, I only bought it because it was a limited edition and blah, blah, you should have got in queue if you wanted it. And if he doesn't, then everyone's going to go, what, you only had 5,000 and season ticket holders ain't got one and blah, blah, blah. So like whatever he does is wrong. But I ain't got one, so if they could re-release it, that'd be great.
if we all chucked in £100 each, we can all get a black shirt. Like you said, you do for season tickets.
We'll get one off of eBay for a bit.
I reckon, given the sizes that are left, we can all chuck a couple of quid in each, and we could probably make 2 shirts out of the sizes that are remaining, if I'm honest. But Stevie, just chuck those comments on as I'm talking, please. It seems like it's really popular. Is that kit? I think like it's going to be.
Charmin's come back, hasn't she? Yeah, I like the kit, and not having a sponsor really makes it ping. I mean, the thing with the sponsors. Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to quickly say that there's a bit of a bone of contention with sponsors, because traditionally we've had some really naff ones, haven't we, over the years? So we're not always like massively like up for sponsors. If we get a good one, fine. I mean, we had Sanderson for years and we were fine with that, but we've had some stinkers. So it's no surprise a lot of people prefer a shirt without a sponsor.
See, I think I do like sponsors. I think I do like them, and I think it's obviously like part of the love of this kit, I think, comes from it being a little bit similar to a previous away kit that we had in the 90s that everybody likes, that got the shiny same stripes thing going on. But I think I do prefer a sponsor, because especially with a kit that's all one colour, it looks a bit like a trade.
Not on this black one though, Holly. You can't ruin it with a sponsor. What if it was something shit? You know what I mean? Because sponsors now look rubbish.
Something great like the Wednesday week.
Well, just send us the invoice, channels, and we'll get it squared off. What's 40 cents?
Right. John? Yeah, he says, I love a sponsor, me. Just get Sanderson back.
See, Sanderson, or we could have some Chupa Chups actually.
Here we go. Away straight in there. Get Chupa Chups back on.
Chupa Chups was an awful looking sponsor. Let's not fart around the poo.
No,
it ruined that 2000 to 2001 kit was an absolute thing of beauty, ruined by a big piece of bloody shit on the front. It looked bloody awful.
Like Leeds fans aren't buying the home shirt because of their sponsor, because they don't like the Red Bull being red on their kit. So they're all getting the away kit because it's yellow and blue with the same colour as the kit. So maybe, I don't know. I think you're just upset because of both of last season's sponsors being so awful that it's like you can't get over it. But there's nothing wrong with Sanderson.
I'm not going to get caught on sponsorship chat, but I will end this segment on this. The Blackout kit was an absolute beauty, but I will say, and this is going to be controversial, right? It's a controversial thing I'm about to say. I really hated the Children's Hospital seasons where we were sponsored, where we had the Children's Hospital logo on the front. Now, don't get me wrong, right? To advertise the Sheffield Children's Hospital, stunning. And then we had it on the back of the kit. I thought that was amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I have, from a design perspective, that teddy bear was a crap logo because let's be honest, they've gone, listen, we need it's a children's charity, yeah, and we need like a mascot for it. Oh God, what other people have a mascot? Pudsey Bear. Let's just do a rip. Let's just do that. Let's just have a snide Pudsey Bear.
What did you want them to have? Like, what is some children's hospital?
We could have gone with a rabbit.
Sorry, the children's hospital's not cool enough for you. Sorry, in between saving kids' lives, they were like, "Oh, I hope Dan looks sick in this." Like, I bear you specifically in mind.
They didn't want you wearing it. That's what it was.
It went for you.
And it always reminds me now of Tommy Miller, and it was awful and misshapen, and Darren Percy and everything. It was bloody awful. Let's move on. Let's Fudgy's right on last year's sponsorship. We need more of Fudgy's right. So whenever I say something controversial, I'm gonna need these screen grabs for podcast HR. But let's move on. Now listen, there was some rumours, Holly, actually I'm gonna come to you on this one because I know you're gonna be very upset. There were some rumours of a grey-haired Scottish man leaving the club that's been spoken about quite a lot. There's still a few days left of the transfer window, and Callum Patterson's name has been mentioned a number of times. H, are you going to be okay?
So obviously, like last season, he inspired us to stay up.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm just getting pelters now on the internet because I hate charity.
You hate.
Just keep chucking them up as we're going, Stevie. Just keep going.
Yeah. So obviously, last season I absolutely adored him. I really did adore him, and he recently put up a family picture with his dogs on, and he's got surprisingly nice feet, which I didn't know that I would ever say about him. But honestly, look at it and look at his feet. Right, he's got great feet. That's all I can say.
We get that up, please, Stevie. That's essential.
You can find that Stevie. He's got great feet. But anyway, and I do think that there is something that he can do for us. In the whole game, we had Johnson, Patterson and Smith on, all three that you think might go somewhere else. And of the three, if you're going to let go of one of them, before, like, you would probably say Smith, but this season, I think Smith's really put a case forward. And in that whole game, I thought both Pato and Johnson were really, really anonymous. And that hurts for me to say about both of them, but they were really not there.
I tell you what, if I hate charity, you hate Callum Patterson on the way this has gone tonight. Even though you've been really measured about it, and mine was killing from a design point. But look, we know what the internet's like.
Take me down just because you're
taking you down with me because
you your own.
You hate grey-haired people. You hate Scottish people. Simon's pissed off. He's gone to a different country. He's never mentioned it. But listen,
I love Pato. I really, really love him. But, like when I said, this might be why some of these people aren't in the first team, I think he might be one of the people that's not in the first team. And, go on, John.
Yeah, Danny Goodison commented, so Pato is what I'd call a glue guy. He's not going to be in the squad every week, but he sends good vibes even when things have been rubbish. If he goes, I'll be sad.
I'll be really, really sad. But we did say that about Wilks, and then we played Plymouth, and everybody went, "Who? Will who? What? I've never heard of him. I don't know what you're talking about." So it is football, and we do move on.
All about that has commented, who will be the team's designated fisherman if Pato leaves?
Fishing in the river, Don. He's off his tits.
Art Miss 1984. We need to keep Smith. He gives us another option when things need a change up with how we play.
I don't disagree with that, Chaz. I mean, I know you are the owner of Michael Smith now because you have licked him when he came over after he scored against Norwich. So you're the one who's qualified to talk about Michael Smith. But he offers us a different dimension, and the times he has been utilised, he's ran his blood to water, right?
I think he has, and obviously it's still early, and we'll obviously get onto the misery of this weekend, and where nobody deserves to be judged because they were all equally as shite as one another. But I think he does. I think he does offer something. And I think the only thing I will say is rumours of him potentially going have suddenly equated to him playing really well. I mean, I don't know. It was one of those things, like sometimes it goes the other way, where like when you think a player's on his way out, he stops giving a toss. It's almost like he's gone the other way. Is it because he wants to stay? Is he trying to like up his value? I don't know. But I think he works hard, and I also think like when he came to us, right, he was really like they were a big fan of him at Rotherham, and for him to kind of come to us, he knew was like quite a big deal, and it like pissed a lot of people off, moved all his family, like and I think he really, really likes playing at Wednesday. I feel like you can see that in his reaction when he scores, that you can see like, because he's him scoring like the goal against Plymouth, it wasn't like it was like it had been 0-0 and then he got a last minute winner, or like do you know what I mean? Like it was just an extra, it wasn't even the icing on the cake, it was like the sprinkles on top of the ice on the cake. It wasn't like an essential goal, but his reaction to it was like really jubilant, and I thought that's mint. Like I think he really enjoys playing here. If he's gonna get consistent game time, he's gonna get consistent sub game time perhaps, then yeah, absolutely keep him. But I don't think you can keep him and Patterson. I don't think you could keep both of them. I think while they sort of offer different things in a way, I think that kind of impact subness is you don't need both for him, and that's
just gonna write that down, Chaz. Impact subness. I'm gonna put that under bounce back ability. And,
yeah.
Do you know what I will say though?
Yeah, we've got Craig. Go on, Hal.
I'll go on. If we are going to keep
my apologies. I think we've got a bit of a delay here. Holly, you go first, and then we'll give John the opportunity for his internet to catch up somewhat.
So we've got we're going to be pressing quite a lot, and I think it showed a bit more last season because we weren't all pressing. But I think Smith really does press with purpose, and the way that he presses, it like curves his run so they can't pass one way, and he forces them to do it another way. And I think some of the younger players who are new to that will learn a lot from watching him do that. So like, you remember when we interviewed Grant Holt, and he said that he thought he was doing the right things, but he wasn't scoring as many as Mark Robbins, and he asked him why, and it was different stuff about the way you run, the way you curve your run, or the way you run across the keeper and stuff. Well, I think Smith has those aspects, whereas maybe Kadamatre or the two wingers that we've got don't have those things yet, so they might learn something like that from him that they don't have. So he might be worth keeping for that reason. Like Gassama, Masaba, Kadamatre, at the moment, all three of them definitely think pressing is just running fast towards somebody. And it's not that. There's more to it than just running and hoping that they pass it before you get there. You have to actually have a plan for when you get there, and you have to try and make the mistake and make them pass it to who you don't want them to pass, or they don't want to pass it to. If you know,
show them where to go and all the rest of it. I agree with you. There's some clever pieces in Smudge's game that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. But we've had some comments of people just like that one, John, right?
Yeah, Martin says there's always a place in the squad for a player like Smudger. I think he offers enough to stay, keep him, and ship Cads out on loan.
Cads out on loan. That's been a contentious issue the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? Now, Stevie, in the gods, we had a great comment. If you roll up from Jam the Sun in reference to the way Smudger looks, and when it pops up, John, you could read that one out because I really enjoy it.
Okay, so yes. Jane the Sun says the problem with Smith is that every part of his anatomy is shaped like a what? Threepenny bit. Threepenny bit. I think he means threepenny bit, don't I?
Threepenny bit. I can't argue with maths. You can't argue with maths. Every part.
Sharman says every part.
Amazing. So I'll tell you what, Stevie, we'll probably let's have a last couple of comments on Michael Smith, and then we'll move on to yesterday's game. Go on, Stevie. I'll let you keep it light.
All right then. So we've got one from Nat who says Pato, Smith, Johnson, and Diaby need to be moved on for players that fits Rule's style of play.
We did change. We did change in the whole game. We changed to like 3 at the back with wing backs, and Johnson obviously got better when we changed to that. And Diaby, I don't think we've seen enough of him, but he is definitely faster than Ehekwe. So if we're going to press high, at least he'll get back. Whereas we've all moved. Whereas for the second Hull goal, as soon as Valentin goes down to the ground, Ehekwe just throws his arms up like, ref, please, because he knows.
Do you know what?
It's not happening.
Holly, I know you play the same level of football that I played. In fact, you probably play higher. But being of a certain age, if the striker's running past you in your defence, what's your first course of action? If he's left your foot, my gaffer used to go absolutely mental. Fudgy, stop running and call it offside. I am not chasing after that. Have you seen how quick he is? It's mental. Right. Let's get into the minutiae. Let's get into the nonsense. There on screen right now is a screen cap of Callum Patterson scoring his goal against Peterborough. One where I officially lost my absolute brains and decided, yes. In fact, actually, it was just after this goal in which I coined the term to our now retired from podcasting compatriot Blair, where I turned to him and went, "Go on, up the shagging Wendy's," and then that's been now my, it was at that moment in which the shagging Wendy's was born. so that's nice, isn't it? Let's move on then, right then. So Sunderland, let's talk about the build up to Sunderland just before we get into the lineup. John, there was an element, wasn't there, of we are winning the league and we are going to get carried away with ourselves. What were your thoughts before the game?
Total confidence. Like I think many fans would have fell into that trap of, having that great result and performance against Plymouth on a lovely sunny day, and then you cashed, and then an unexpected win in the cup against Hull. So you're coming into match day 3 as you will, and we'd been up there last season. We're on paper inferior team, and we got a result then. So I was very confident we could go there and win, despite Ash throwing me under the bus on the prediction, saying that I'd got Sunderland to win 2-1, which was not right.
I love the way you'd written it 2-1, and then he put the Owls logo next to it, and Ash has gone, "There, I will just chuck John under the bus." There you are. Yeah. And the amount of comments we got with, "Cheers, John." Not very. Yeah. It turned out you were the only one that got it right. So that's nice, didn't it? Holly, now last time we went to Sunderland, it was towards the back end of the season. They had 1 foot on the beach. The season was falling to bits. We were fighting for our life. We knew it was going to be a tough test, didn't we?
Well, apparently they hadn't won at home for about 12 games or something.
Sick.
But
come the Wendy's.
Part of me thinks we sold us soul to win that game last season, and they just cashed it in this time. And you know what? If you'd have said, right, you can win at the end of the season, but you're going to get absolutely battered at the start of the season, I'd have took it.
Absolutely.
And on the journey up there, me and Lee, I mean, if Liam's watching, he absolutely won't vouch for me, but we were having a conversation about that Danny won't change for anyone. So I don't think he'll do like a home formation and away formation or whatever. I think he'll just stick to what he wants them to do. Which means I think that we will get found out. I didn't think it'd be this early, not gonna lie, but we'll get found out, and we will have some games that are like that Ipswich game where somebody, every mistake that we make, they just take it. And we did sort of have a conversation about it'd be interesting to see what happens to them mentally when we concede first and go behind. So now we know.
Shit hits the fan.
Don't fall behind.
I tell you what, though,
not as much fun as last week.
I tell you what, Pete Lerman has put some stats out about what happens when we're away. We go 1 goal down. Not great reading. If you do find Pete on X, it's worth taking a look at how terrible we are once our heads have gone. Now, Stevie, let's put up the starting 11. Chaz, I'll come to you. This is the starting 11. I don't feel like there was going to be many differences. Great shot of Beadle, by the way, with his little tan. That's quite nice, isn't it? I would have said that's probably our best 11, given how the Plymouth game went, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is that looking at that, there's nothing that I would really change. I think you've got a couple of options on the bench. It's nice to see Ugbo on the bench. But yeah, given how well we'd done the week before, you wouldn't really change up what we'd got. Unless you got injured, you wouldn't change that up. And I think, I was quietly confident as well. I thought we'd give them a game. I didn't necessarily know if we'd win. I thought we'd give them a game. So on paper, maybe that team, if that is in fact our best starting, then maybe we should have done a lot better. I don't know what that says. It's not like we certainly can't blame the lineup, if that makes sense. I don't think we can say, oh, well, that's because he randomly spun the wheel and just put a load of, do you know what I mean? Or he changed too much and it didn't work. He went with what had worked, and in this instance it didn't. So
it did not work. Now, like Chaz says about the starting 11, it probably, I don't think it's down to that. Now, John, it gets mentioned a lot, and we'll come to the comments in a bit, but there was a lot of individual errors. I'm going to give you the first goal to tell us all about it and how you felt about it, and you're all going to get a goal each, kids, because there's a lot to unpack.
Okay. So, first goal, that absolute twat of a player called Jack Clark threw himself on the ground with his Alice band. I don't know where that went, but he threw himself on the ground, so he got a free kick. And obviously it weren't a free kick, were it? But what you can't legislate for was the absolute non-marking of anyone on the back stick from the resulting free kick.
Listen, now, John, I'm going to proffer you another side of this. Give you some TalkSport Radio, wibble wobble wibbly wobbly. That's Simon Jordan. Now he speaks. Now, I felt that we got suckered in by one from the training ground, one that they practiced, because that for me was a beauty of a run. And football players, you can genuinely pick out where they're going to go, what they're going to do. Even when you're watching it on the side. I mean, Holly, for the first time in a million years, watched the game at the side of the pitch at the Liam Palmer testimonial. And what you can notice when you watch it from the side is it's probably going to go there. It's probably going to go there. It's like watching it on TV, right? But that run that Chirkin, is that how you pronounce it? Chirkin did. And hell of a finish. There's still a lot to do. I felt like that was just from the training ground. I don't feel like, I know Windass got a lot of chops about it, but did we just get done?
Well, the commentator said as much, didn't they? When he scored, he said that you could clearly see it was something that they'd been working on. One, like you said, one from the training ground. It just, when you see it like that, it just looks like, how could not one player know that there was like 3 men at the back stick of mark?
Yeah.
But you're right. It had shades, not the actual goal, but the actual cheekiness of it, if you like. Reminded me of the England Argentina in France '98 when they got their
the Zanetti one.
Yeah. Everyone's thinking you're going to chip it into this area or have a shot on goal, and then just slide him in unmarked at the back on the back post there. So clever on their part, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And it just turned the game.
What I will say about that goal, we 100% set up thinking he was going to shoot, because the way that the wall was here and then Beadle left the gap where the wall was, and he was like a bit further to the side, and we absolutely set up for that to be a shot. But as soon as the other guy doesn't take it, then why do we not? We didn't react to the fact that they obviously had then changed the plan, and we're gonna and people can blame Windass for it being his man. But there's certain people, when there's a set piece, there's certain people that are just there for being there. Windass and Bannon, when they're marking people, they're not going to beat them to a header whatever.
They're just there for bodies, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
so
numbers.
We'll come to it because Windass had a stinker. But that whole situation, I wouldn't blame on him, because As soon as it becomes obvious it's not a cross, Beadle should move into the middle and everybody should go, shit, who have I got and what am I doing? And the defenders should drop and whatever should happen. And the wall should go, it ain't coming near me. And like, but we had 3 million people in the wall and then Beadle stood over there and it would just crap from everybody, that whole thing. And I do think part of it is that Sunderland are really good from set pieces.
And
And
we're really shit at set
headers
pieces.
against them. We didn't win any headers against them. So
yeah, they were good, and even those 3 people in the middle of the park that they had. I say people, children that they had running in the middle of the park had an absolute great game. Now, Holly, you're going to tell us about the second game while Stevie plays the comments about the first goal in the background there. Just let them roll, Stevie. We don't need to read them out, but Holly, you're going to tell us about the second goal, right?
what was the second goal when Windass did the non-flick thing?
Where Windass tried to channel his inner Michael Smith.
So the problem with that, I mean, no, I hate when they do just a blind flick to nobody, and I think in his head, when it's you and you're convinced that it's going to come off, I guess you don't think about it not coming off. So he obviously thought this is going to be genius. I'm going to take half of their team out. These little kids that have been running around us. See ya, we're away. But because of how we played it, the 2 centre halves had completely split. And as soon as he won that ball, it was just one-on-one with there was no time for anyone to do anything. So Sharman's just said that the awareness was really poor. Like he should have known somebody was on his back. And the defence, I mean, we've conceded 4, and I feel like Beadle had nothing to do with any of them. And like, it's not fair, is it? Worko says, mistakes are happening all over the pitch for me. Windass just had bad luck leading to goals as a result of them. Windass, again, like I think we will come to it later, but yeah, it didn't. That goal was just an absolute individual error, and from that, the rest of it, like, you knew it wasn't going to end 2-0, and you just could see everybody just go, oh no.
The defending were just atrocious, weren't it, all game, to be fair. You can't single out just one person. But yeah, obviously we'll come on to it, but everybody had a shocker, didn't they?
Do you know, before they scored the first one, and I know they scored it quite early, we were actually, like, we started the game on fire, and I really thought this is
like Electric Giblets said earlier on, the first 7 minutes we were absolutely bloody.
Yeah.
We looked great.
And then that cheeky goal, and you just think, like, if that individual error hadn't happened so soon, maybe we could have got back into it. But as soon as we went 2-0 down, you could see, and there was a point, I think it was at 2-0 or maybe 3-0, where literally, like, Masaba was on the opposite side in the corner, and then, like, Bannon was over there, and every single player except Beadle was just like you just chucked them all onto the pitch from a great height. They were all over. We completely lost the shape, and it's just like that's the answer to what do we do when we go behind. Like, that's the answer. Everybody just absolutely loses the shit.
What do we do when we go behind? What do we do with the drunken?
At one point,
two unanswered questions there.
At one point, I actually thought Ingleson had turned into Boris Johnson. It was that bad at middle of the park. It just really, it's like, what's this guy with, like, Ballon d'Or winner last week? And man, he can't even win a ball. He's getting nowhere near these kids. They're running circles around him.
They really were. Like, their tails were up because they'd scored both those goals quite quickly. Like, their tails were really up. And then all the things we were doing right against Plymouth, they were doing them to us. They were absolutely pressing us. They were running past us. Like, they made, and then everybody looked around and went, "Are we the Plymouth?"
Are we the Plymouth?
It was horrible, and it just obviously went from bad to worse. But it just took the wind out of his sails completely, that second goal.
Speaking of wind, great segue, H. There was a third goal conceded in the first half, so it's not going very well, Chaz. And a ball's got played through. Strikers turn around, and I think it was 09, wasn't it? Who put it in? And once again, poor Josh Windass, bless him. like this honestly, like for the first goal, Holly's dead right. The Windass, Bannon, Gassama, Masaba, they're just bodies in and around something in order to try and put people off. We got caught out by a really clever one from the training ground. The second one, you've got to have the confidence in order to try something like that in the middle of the park. And a lot of the times it does come off for Josh Windass. At this point, it didn't, and it happened so quickly. It was literally like a pinball, bosh, bosh. And then the poor sod, Chaz, for the third goal, I'll let you pick it up from here.
I mean, from a corner as well, it was just so poor from him when you're already 2-0 down and getting battered. No, at the very least, you go defensive. And it was just, and I mean, if I'm being honest, I do think 09 looked a little bit offside, but it wouldn't have necessarily really mattered because there was at least 3 of them queuing up one behind the other that could have knocked it in. Like,
there was across the penalty spot, weren't there? There was 3 of them all getting played on by Josh. They were all just,
do you want it? And it was like, you know, you could have sold your kingdom for some marking. It was just unbelievable. Like, it was absolutely wild.
I will sell my kingdom for some mark.
You know, and they just stood there, sort of watching the ball go over like red arrows, and you're like, "Move! Only you can prevent this. Like, only you can do something to stop this." And I think it was at that point when I was like, "I think they might have got us here, chaps." I think because it was so. It wasn't a jammy goal. It wasn't even world's greatest goal. It was a goal when you're playing, instead of playing against players, you're playing against little cones that people have put out. It was like that. It was just so awful.
It was like a loading screen on the new FIFA.
And three in the first half is insane. Like, that is insane.
3, Jeremy.
Like, as many as 3. It was just absolutely nuts. And it was, yeah, absolutely agree with that comment there. Yeah, 2 or 3 players, no one near him. It could have been any one of them bashed it in. At that point, they didn't even need to be that clever, and that's what was sad. Is were we even being outclassed at that point, or were we just kind of no, please, after you? And it was. I think I laughed though. It was one of those, you know, and you're like,
sure,
what a sensational thing to happen.
Do you know what I do when something like that happens? You know, when you think 2-0 is doable, we can at least come out of this with a draw. When a third one goes in, you know that scene where Chandler and Monica are looking at a new house and they hear Janice's voice go, "Oh my God," and he just stares into space and goes, "Sure, sure." That's kind of, you know what I mean? That was kind of my thoughts on it. We've had a Barnsley fan tune in, by the way. He's chucked a couple of comments in, so you know, have a good one. So the halftime came around, and we thought, "Oh God, Danny, what you going to do here? Do you stop the rot? Do you go for it?" Now, you know, Danny's played attacking football. We tried to play attacking football against Sunderland, and I was at home, and I live in London, and Sunderland's effort, you know, it's a long way, and tickets are like rocking or shit. So I thought, I'm going to watch this on the box. I'm going to watch it. And then, you know, your mates will give you a load of grief. Wednesday's having a shit time. I'm like, nah, we'll be all right second half. Just unlucky, yada, yada, yada. And then about 90 seconds in, they scored a 4th goal where Deschamps Bernard seemed to forget that he was playing football at this moment in time and that there was a man near him and he asked to stand next to him in the defending art of called marking. And the ball's gone in and a man's just put it into the back of the net from some of the shadiest defending I've ever seen. And at this point, I've lost my mind. Now, I did not get to witness that game live because what Sky Sports had decided to do on this day was show the first half on one channel and then because it was Chelsea, Manchester City later on, or there was a game in between, wasn't there? I want to say it was it might have been Leicester or something like that. I can't remember. But they showed the first half, and then they decided they were going to stop showing that now, and you had to change over to a new channel, but they didn't tell you. I was already scrolling. I'm getting abuse from my mates, and then I got a notification going, "You're 4-0 down." And I'm thinking, Christ, there's a delay on this. I thought it'll come on in a second. Then they went to an advert break. Then
I wish they could have done that to us in the stands and just gone, "Nah, don't watch it."
It
was Brentford versus Crystal Palace, and that the game started. And I'm like, I've missed the first 15 minutes in the second half. What's going on? So now I'm having to go back to watch this bloody goal, and I don't know why I did it to myself. But that also was trash.
Everybody was saying, so obviously, like, we're like up in the sky at Sunderland, so you can't really see. But everyone was saying that throughout the first half, Danny was going absolutely crazy, and at one point for one of the goals, he threw his arms up and stormed to the bench, and then Powell was the one that was shouting. So it sounded like that. I don't know because I couldn't see, but that they were saying like it looked like people weren't really doing what he was shouting to them. And then before he went in for half time, he stayed out for a couple of minutes watching something on a screen before going in. So then you think,
God,
that's all right. Looks like he's identified where the issues were.
Then less than 2 minutes later.
But what, right? So, and I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. So hold on to your hats, boys. Obviously, everybody, and I guess after a game, they will spend a bit of time analysing what went wrong. But everybody knows what went wrong. Josh Windass knows what went wrong. and Danny obviously chose not to take Windass off at halftime, which will have been...
it destroyed his confidence.
So as not to do that. He did take him off, obviously. And then in the interview afterwards, he also said he blamed something else, which I also agree with. He blamed something else. But the three things that Windass did wrong is marking somebody, not playing people offside, and then trying to do like a defensive midfielder role. At what point in the whole time we've had Josh Windass has he been a defensive midfielder? Like he's not a defensive player.
No.
So he probably has thought that that flick would work further up the pitch and it would be genius. It would be genius.
I was just doing my normal stuff. I was just in the wrong place.
Yeah, it was just a perfect coming together of things what could go wrong, wasn't it? That entire
when you put
thing.
an attacking player in the wrong place, that's not what you do. That's like, yeah. So I think everyone will know what happened. But I absolutely, honestly don't like. I don't think that we can class it as like the worst game that we've ever seen. It's just one player's played out of position and he's had a bit of a stinker, and he probably won't play that crap again. To be fair, I'm not his biggest fan, but I really don't think that we will play him as such a defensive player.
I think you're right. I got a text message as well saying last time I sat and watched you on this telly, you lost 6-0. Do you think that's going to happen again? And I remember thinking, yeah, probably.
There was a point where we really did think it was going to be much worse than 4-0. So I actually was thankful for 4-0.
4-0 seemed like a let-off by the end of it. But we've got a comment there, John.
Yeah, so Dunderbird says, thing is, I actually trust Rule to find the issues and fix them, unlike I think any manager we've had since the 90s.
Yeah,
so
now
I
like that as a comment. Reason being is we've got a good record of once we've had our backside handed to us, we normally bounce back with something else. But I need to put a pin in Sunderland. This is where we do a Chandler click and go dinner and move on.
Before we do, just on that last comment about Danny. The thing that we did really, really well in the other two games was the pressing and stuff. And the thing that he identified as being the issue, rather than the individual mistakes, was the laziness and the lack of, like, once his heads are gone, neither Masaba or Gassama touched the ball for about 60 minutes. Like, as soon as the heads are gone, they were doing that where you run, but you hope that you don't really get near it. And not just them, all of them, like, they decided that it was lost. And then that's where, like I said about Smith didn't stop. He did keep pressing, and he kept pressing with purpose. Whereas they literally gave up. So I do think that Danny knows that was the issue. The issue was that we didn't want to get back into it. Once we'd gone.
Yeah. And fair play to players like Smith and Beadle as well. And Beadle pulled out an absolute world-class save towards the back end of the first half, didn't he? And I feel like we need to give them their kudos. But I could really do with moving on for time, kids, because we've had an outgoing. Now, the one man, well, we lost 4-0 to Sunderland. Let's move on. Let's put it back. But one man has left the club. We finally had an outgoing. A man who Holly described as the type of guy that sits in a nightclub and gets a bottle of spirits brought over with fireworks in it and gets his pals to get them girls over. Malik Wilks has moved to the other side of South Yorkshire to Rotherham. Great move for him. I don't have any ill will, John. What about yourself?
No, I mean, as you know, I was banging a drum for this guy, so it just shows you what a scout I'd be in real life, doesn't it? So, yeah. So obviously his agent's come and said to him, "Hey, up Malik, got you to move to New York, kid. You're gonna love it." But it's not USA. It's the New York Stadium over the M1. So There you go, Malik. No, I'm not too fussed about seeing Malik go. He's never been a regular. He's never forced his way consistently into the side. He's had some injury issues. He needs game time. We need to free up the wage and get another body in. So fair play to him. Might be a good signing for them, but I'm not sad to see him go.
Do you know what, right? I don't want to be that guy because I really don't want to be the person who, but I'm so happy that he's gone. And also I'm happy that he's gone to a South Yorkshire rival because he's going to be absolutely turd. So who cares? But also, when you look at that picture of his announcement, it's like he does all those poses every time. But look how sad, the longer you look at it, look how sad he is behind the eyes. Honestly, look at it. So
let's have it up again, Stevie. Let's have the picture of Wilks up again, Stevie. Let's have a look. See how dead he is behind there.
He's so funny because we've never seen whatever that is. Presumably that's what he does when he scores. Which we're like, all right, okay, that's good to know. I'm sure that'll come out. I bet his arms are like coming out, sticking out of storage.
That picture in the top right. That picture in the top right, for those who can't see it, it looks like, I remember in the Gulf War when they used to put people up who'd been in prison and they said they treated me very well. They got a black eye and everything. They treated me excellent and all that.
I tell you what, John, I wonder where you were going to go with that, but yeah, I get the reference that you mean there. But, right then, let's move on because we've got a few things to talk about now. It's the it's Holly, you again. It's the second scariest fixture of the calendar for yourself, isn't it? Given the proximity of where you live, the first being the away tie. On Friday, we're at home to the Lily Whites. A game I can't get to because work, and I'm absolutely really annoyed at Sky Sports about it. How do you think we're going to get on, H?
So obviously, after the Plymouth game, I didn't at all go in the group chat to all my friends and absolutely lord it over them because we were top of the league. And then when they failed to win in the cup, I didn't say we were going to win the cup and go absolutely ham on all of that. So I've absolutely had it this day and the rest of yesterday. I did think, judging by how Leeds have been playing anyway, I did think it was going to be a bit of a bloodbath where every time either team goes forward, they score, and it's like 5-5 and everybody's laying down and they need 50,000 defibrillators to bring everyone back because I think it's going to be absolutely awful. And I don't think either man, Farker at the moment, he's going to have to try and save his job because they all hate him.
Yeah, that's because he sounds like a squeaky dog toy when he talks.
Oh, right, okay. And but I think it's better for us that we got a battering the other day rather than it happening a bit later on in the season, or rather than us going into this game thinking that we're absolutely amazing. So, like you said, I think we do come back from having his asses handed to us quite well. I'm hoping that happens. I just don't want it to be silly.
Yes.
Cisco got a point against him, so
they must be rubbish, right? That must be rubbish. What about you, John? Where are you feeling on Leeds United on Friday?
Yeah, well, it's I can see why people might be concerned because if Leeds are fancied to go apart there, well, no doubt the start they would have envisaged, they'll be up there thereabouts. One would assume. Yeah, obviously it's a bounce back game for us. There'll be a big crowd there, despite the moving of the kickoff. Leeds will bring about 500,000 as usual. So it will be a bumper. To look at it, why wouldn't this be the best game to try and bounce back from a team that you don't like, a local rival? You want to bounce back in front of your fans and prove that the Sunderland game was an anomaly. I don't think the Sunderland was a true reflection of the team, although it probably did show that we've still got a ways to go to see ourselves pushing at the higher end of the table.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We can bounce back against Leeds. Why not? Tell me why not.
We can do something about it, can't we, Holly? I didn't trouble you for a score prediction, did I? Quick as you like.
I can't. I'm gonna have to go. Like, I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game.
I tell you what, we'll save the score predictions for the tweets that Ash does on game day when you absolutely panic, because it's one of my favourite things to listen to your thought process come through one message at a time, and then my phone just vibrates off the table. Chaz, Leeds.
I'm cautiously pessimistic. I think they've got something to prove, having had 3 shit games on the bounce. We've kind of got something to prove. It's always a bit nervy. Just last time we played them at home, this is like what is so heart-wrenching for me is like we were doing all right, and then we conceded like at the absolute death of half time, and then somebody had to go on and do dizzy frigging penalties right after no one could have wanted anything less in their lives at that point. And so now I associate that whole day with like just the most miserable thing ever. So it can only, from my personal experience of watching us play Leeds at home, it can only be improved by me not
were you
around.
were you at the side of the pitch? Because I know they get you a bit early. Were you at the side of the pitch when they scored? Or
no, not quite, but it was like literally it went and it was like half time, and now let's welcome some women to do something, and everyone was like, I wish I was dead. Horrendous. It was the worst.
I love that, Chaz, as well, because just before you take the penalty, you steady yourself and then literally hold on to your hat.
Hold on to my hat.
Absolute beauty. But yeah, Leeds are coming up. Could be a tough test, could be our bounce back. And we had a comment there earlier on saying Windass will probably bag one. Wouldn't surprise me. And as we've spoken about a number of times, I believe that Danny Roll knows how to bounce back. Now, as just before we wrap this up, it's time now we talk about any other business. And we've got 2 bits tonight. Grimsby sold out. They've gone. Grimsby's gone. Grimsby's bailed. Grimsby's out. We've got so that's gone. Now, Holly, there was something about some trams.
Well, I don't know enough about trams, but apparently there was already some kind of replacement system going on, and then they've said, we're not even doing that anymore. We're going to keep everybody. Bear in mind, we can't play any local rivals on a Friday night or a Saturday daytime because it's too dangerous. And then they've just thought Leeds, they're going to fill the away end. We've sold them it all, obviously, to rinse them of all their money. See if they want any black away kits or whatever while they're here. Why not? So there's going to be 4,000 Leeds fans. We're not actually letting them. We're shipping them in early, and we're not letting them leave early. We're just letting them. Everyone's just gonna loiter for a bit. Why not?
So what's actually going on with the trams? Have they cancelled something? What's the story with it?
They've said something like that. It's not.
They're doing some rail replacement or repair works or something.
No, but they've said they did put on like a rail replacement or a tram replacement bus or whatever, but they're not actually doing that anymore because let me read it to you. Talk for a minute. Wait, let me find it.
Okay, so just ladies and gentlemen, just as Holly is talking about just doing her homework on what we brought up for the tram. Oh, all right, we'll come back to the raffle.
Pre-match service will terminate at Cathedral from 6:30, and then you're not even being able to be picked up after. So
what?
9:30 till 10:30, they're also not running. So
do they want a scrap? Is that what they're trying to encourage?
So they want to march everybody
if you
down
can find
that
a
road.
Leeds fan that's a similar size to you, that's what we're going to do.
Nice.
You've got to match them up.
Football factory.
Just think if you'd actually. Just think if we'd actually got some DC taxis, it could have made an absolute fortune on Friday night.
Do you know what? I tell you what, given the unveiling of that black kit, there might be an unveiling of the DC taxis with Mr. Vegas splashed all down the side of it. Now, the last thing before Ash absolutely goes mental at me, we do have an extra black shirt that we are raffling off to raise some money for our community fund. If you look on our link tree that you see on our X, and And if you look on our socials, it's also in the links at the top of our Instagram as well. If you take a look at that, you can find the link for the raffle. I think it's only £1 to enter as well. So that's not too shabby as well. And it all goes into the coffers for Ash to distribute amongst the people what need it the most. So listen, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Apart from the football, you lot have been absolutely mint. Stevie, do you want to say bye? Or do you want to come on and say bye? You can add yourself on if you want. But Stevie, thanks a lot for doing the AV tonight, Stevie. And thanks a lot for joining us. I've forgotten the button before I do the see you later. Charlie, do you want to do the see you later?
See you later.
I love it.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.